And go into my report. Still got some of the same bills that we're waiting to get resolved. As you know, the legislators have been out pretty much all summer. It's election and they're coming back Monday, I think it's the 8th, but they really don't come back till the last week in November. I met with their staff, was up there last week attending an event for the Attorney General. I met with some staff and they've been assured that as soon as they return, they're going to run Senate Bill 1189 through the committees. That's our bill we had introduced that would guarantee or require equal treatment of our elected trustees on the pension board. You know, ours are the only ones right now that are required to be a resident, the only ones that don't get compensated. So that bill will take care of that. And they're also still holding in Senate Bill 409, which has to do with the taxing of the pensions, which would raise the amount of deductions before you have to pay in 2040 to 3555. A few senators are still convinced that they can get the House to go along with raising the benefit levels on that, to bring in those who were born after 55, the younger ones. They're waiting for the House to try to push a bill through the Senate so they can use that in a trade to improve the benefits on Senate Bill 409. The governor has agreed to improve on the benefits if we can get it through the House. Members of the Senate have agreed to improve the benefits, but the Speaker of the House hasn't agreed to it yet. They're still working on it. But they said one way or the other, they'll pass it either the way it is or with the improvements by the end of the year. Any questions on those two bills? And the election coming up. As you know, we've taken a position on the ballot proposals. I think yes on the number one, that's not a constitutional amendment. One's just to uphold the current law on Public Act 4, the emergency manager legislation. Once again, we think if that was to be thrown out, the only alternative would be federal bankruptcy, which would put our benefits under the health care settlement at risk, which could require you to pay a lot for your health care. So, we don't want to sacrifice ourselves in that. And any other proposals, 2 through 6, do amend the Constitution. We're opposed to those because we don't believe any of those should be passed. Because you don't amend the Constitution, those things should be taken up with the legislator. 2, the right to work, those are really an overreach. If they was to pass that, it could have the effect of eliminating our Public Act 12. Our seats on the pension board could be eliminated again if they pushed it, along with about 170 other bills. There's a real overreach on that. And it also puts in danger the Act 312 in parallel. So we're kind of surprised that the unions would be supporting it. So I'm not sure if they've even read what that bill does. But that's coming up, and right now today they said they think that all the constitutional amendments are going to fail based on the proposal, the polls they just came back with this week. But the one may pass. And speaking of endorsements, we got a call from one of the other pension trustees, Mark Diaz. Some of you may remember he's on the pension board and he went to Lansing to testify in support of our legislation recently on the 1189. He asked for an endorsement. He's running for president of the DPOA, so we give him that endorsement. I think we all know that the active unions can have an effect on our benefits and what we have to fight, how we have to fight different issues that the active unions are opposed to us. So I think it's important that we do have people we can work with. Mark Diaz has worked with us, and our association is giving him an endorsement for the president of the DPOA. So if you got active members, family members, or friends, put the word out there. We also got a call and a request from Matt Kanatic. He's also a pension board trustee. He's running for president of the Lieutenants and Sergeants Association. So we also are endorsing him for the president of Lieutenants and Sergeants. Current president is not going to run again in June. He also went to Lansing recently to testify in support of our legislation. On the healthcare open enrollment, I talked to Blue Cross today. They were supposed to have the open enrollment going on last month. The city hasn't approved the books yet. They think they got the final version today, and it'll be the final approval tomorrow, so the open enrollment, based on the amount of time they need to print the books up, they figure it'll start somewhere towards the end of November. And it's included, your benefit levels are guaranteed if you're in health. They can't change your benefit levels, but they do have to update the book and include the improvements that are required under the Obamacare. Some of those things are like the preventative care, they can't charge you for that anymore. And other things go into effect in January of this year, they have to include those. Any preventative care, they can't be charged co-pays or deductibles for preventative care would be included in the new books. Also, I think some of you may know that there was a problem with Blue Cross here a couple of weeks back. A lot of our members, and maybe everybody, got kicked out of the system. Blue Cross switched to a new system for pay or something like that, and as they transferred everybody into that new system, our group is a unique group, so it took them longer to get everybody in. So there was a couple days there lagged before they got everybody back in from our group, but that was because our group is totally different than any other group in Blue Cross, and it takes them a while to get the benefits in right. It was just a couple days, and we had a number of calls where people's coverage was canceled, so it took them a while to get it back in. But they made it. And those of you who aren't covered by the health care premium, and this could be us if they throw some of these laws were to pass, notice that on your pension checks today, that your premiums doubled. So those that are retired, I think it was the POs are from 2007, lieutenants and sergeants are 2008, retiring after that. Are part of the Wilder versus the City of Detroit. Under the consent agreement with the City of Detroit, implemented that 2080 premium sharing for healthcare premiums, and they included the retirees. Under the law that was passed, that requires all public employees to pay a minimum of 20%. Retirees are especially excluded in that law. So it's not under the law that they're acting under the consent agreement. We spoke with our attorney today. We're using a different law firm. I think I might have mentioned before, we're now working with Lippitt and O'Keefe. The older ones may remember Norm Lippitt from the DPOA. He became a circuit court judge out in Oakland County. We're working with his firm. I talked to them today, and I'm going to send them some documents tomorrow. And they're going to see what kind of standing we have and whether we should try another class action lawsuit. There's probably not a lot of people that aren't part of our class action. Retired probably only a couple hundred. It's going to be an expensive lawsuit again, and those who have retired and aren't members, of course, they're going to benefit again from whatever we get if we're successful in this. But we're going to implement that. We're working with attorneys. We're also aware that under the consent agreement, there is their intention to eliminate vision and dental for those who aren't covered by the class action lawsuit on January 1st. So that'll probably be in that new booklet if they do get it out tomorrow. So once again, we advise the attorneys of that. They said we have to wait till it's implemented. So we'll be working on that, and we'll be filing other lawsuits to try to protect those who aren't covered under a class action lawsuit. Any questions on the health care?
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed your turkey dinner. Just a couple things. We're going to. I know that earlier this year, the Frankenmuth seemed to be quite a hit, so we're going to do that again. We're going to try and do it again this year. It's tentatively scheduled for June 24th and 25th. Same thing at Bavarian Inn and Frankenmuth. We're going to change the format around a little bit. We're going to have our picnic that we normally have. We're going to try and have it up there. The day before, we'll have the picnic on Monday. The day you get there, or if you want to drive up for the picnic, and the next day we're going to have the breakfast, and we'll have the June membership meeting on Tuesday morning. So there'll be more details coming out once we get everything arranged. It seemed like it was very well received last year. Everybody seemed to have a good time. Everything went pretty good. So we'll try that again, and if it works out, keeps working out like it is, we can make that the June meeting. We can do that somewhere place just like we did that time. Sorry? Yeah, they'll be there. They'll be there. They'll be a little older, but they'll be there. nothing. Vegas, we had in September there, we had about 85 people. We received a call from the Tropicana. We're still working out deals with them. Sounds like they would like to have us back, so we'll be working on that also. Hopefully, we get a little better response next year if we do it. Hopefully, we might be able to do it right back at the Tropicana. The place was real nice, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. Great location. I guess other than that, if there's any questions, I really don't have much of anything else to say. Other than stick around for all these wonderful prizes we have. All right, thanks, guys and gals.
Okay, the other ones are gone. Critical action. The Association Trustees, John Barr, Ken Gittner.
Nothing.
Fireman's Fund, Tom Sikora.
Stand up.
Of course, I just want one announcement. We have a retirement honoring Michael Gallo, Senior Chief. It's going to be Sunday, December 2nd. Yes, he made it to Chief. It's going to be at East Point Manor on December 2nd. Call the Senior Chief's office to make reservations. Thank you.
Are they going to serve lunch?
Yes.
Lunch.